At some point in all of our lives, no matter what your profession is, you will age out, at least in the eyes of your company. You will get too old in their eyes because of your knowledge, your experience. You'll be making too much money in the eyes of the people that you work for. The way they look at it, why should I pay a 55-year-old guy with 30 years of experience, $40, $50, $60 an hour, when I could pay some dumbass 24-year-old kid with no experience $18, $20 an hour to do the same damn job? It doesn't matter what you do for a living, whether you're an operator at a steel mill, oil refinery, you're a mid-level manager at some Fortune 500 company, or even the news media. The news media especially is brutal, especially on women. You turn on Fox News no matter what time of day, you don't see some 65, 70-year-old woman on there as the host of the show. You see a beautiful smoking hot blonde in their late 30s or 40s. When you're a professional athlete, you age out quicker than any other profession. 30 years old in normal everyday life is the beginning of your career. You are just starting. You have the rest of your life ahead of you. 30 years old in the NFL, in the NBA, you're considered the grizzled veteran. You're on the back nine of your career. It's almost over for you. Today, we are seeing professional athletes have longer careers than at any other time in history. Vince Carter is fucking 43 years old and still playing NBA basketball. Tom Brady, Drew Brees are in their early 40s and they are still starting quarterbacks in the NFL. Peyton Manning, another example. Even though Brady and Brees are playing in their 40s and they're still playing relatively well, the truth is they're not the same player that they were 3, 4, 5 years ago. They're not as effective. Tom Brady had arguably the worst season of his NFL career last year. Drew Brees' production has declined the past few years, especially late in the season and into the playoffs. Back in 2005, Brett Favre was 36 years old and he was nearing the end of his NFL career. Now, even though the Packers had made the playoffs 4 straight years at that point, and Brett Favre was still playing at a high level, the Green Bay Packers knew that time was not on their side. They had to start looking towards their future. The 2005 NFL draft was very weak in terms of the quarterback position. There were really only 2 guys, Alex Smith, Aaron Rodgers. Going into the draft, everyone thought both guys would be taken in the top 10. So when the Packers came up at number 24 and Aaron Rodgers was still available, even though they had a future Hall of Fame quarterback still playing at a high level and could play for another 2, 3, 4 years, and actually did, Green Bay could not pass up drafting their quarterback of the future in Aaron Rodgers. It was a steal. And I think it's safe to say that Brett Favre was not happy about it. Actually, he was pissed the fuck off. He was very cold towards Aaron Rodgers in the beginning. He didn't want to be his mentor. He didn't want to help the young kid out. Now, of course, the national media and the local media in Green Bay pounced all over this. It was a big story for a couple of years. The Packers, as a result, were dreadful in 2005 and 2006. And even though they made a deep playoff run in 2007, Brett Favre's time in Green Bay was up. They made the decision to move forward with Aaron Rodgers. It's funny how history tends to repeat itself. Because here we are, 15 years later, and the Green Bay Packers have put themselves in the same predicament that they were in back in 2005. Thursday night, Green Bay traded up in the draft to draft Jordan Love. That in and of itself would have raised eyebrows, would have been seen as controversial. But to me, what the Packers did in the later rounds got me to thinking that we could be in the beginning stages of a divorce between Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers. Going into the draft, it was clear to everyone that Aaron Rodgers needed some help in the passing game. Rodgers doesn't have anyone to throw to besides Devontae Adams. The rest of the receivers on this roster are number 3, number 4 options on the majority of the teams in the NFL. Green Bay could use a tight end. Jimmy Graham left in free agency, and to be honest with you, he hasn't been an elite tight end since he left Drew Brees in New Orleans. Even with the limited options offensively last year, Aaron Rodgers carried the Packers to 13-3 in a trip to the NFC Championship game, which was a gift to the 49ers because the Packers were the worst 13-3 team in NFL history. Basically, it was a free ride for San Francisco to the fucking Super Bowl. So going into the draft, I figured the Packers were going to get their franchise quarterback some help. Try and bolster this offense to make a run at the Super Bowl in 2020. Instead, Green Bay did the exact opposite. You couldn't get more opposite of what Green Bay needed to do and what they actually did. They draft Aaron Rodgers' potential replacement in the first round. Second round, they draft running back A.J. Dillon out of Boston College, which is strange to me considering they already have a great running back in Aaron Jones and a backup in Jamal Williams. Green Bay, you need pass catchers, not running backs. Third round, draft a tight end. Okay. Fifth round, linebacker. Sixth round, offensive lineman. It got even worse after that. None of these motherfuckers the Packers drafted are helping Aaron Rodgers win a Super Bowl. In a draft deep with wide receivers, the Packers go the entire fucking draft and don't select the first one. None. 0 wide receivers drafted by the Packers. It is mind-boggling. So it leaves me sitting here wondering, what the fuck is going on in Green Bay? Because it seems to me they're trying to push Aaron Rodgers out the door, which is not going to be an easy thing to do considering that he has a massive contract that would leave a shitload of dead money on the cap if he were released or traded. If he were traded before June 1st, Green Bay would have damn near $32 million of dead cap space in 2021. If Aaron Rodgers were traded after June 1st, it would be almost $14.5 million of dead cap space in 2021 and 2022. There is a big difference between what happened in 2005 and what is happening right now in Green Bay. Back in 2005, Brett Favre was considering retirement. It was a year-to-year thing. So even though it pissed Brett Favre off that Aaron Rodgers was drafted, you couldn't blame the Packers for it. It made sense for Green Bay to pull the trigger on Aaron Rodgers because they didn't know whether the fuck Brett Favre was going to be around or not. He could have been gone tomorrow. They didn't know. But right now, today, Aaron Rodgers has given no indication that he is ready to retire. Actually, it's the opposite of that. He came out several weeks ago and said that he sees what Tom Brady and Drew Brees are doing in their 40s, and he would like to be able to do the same thing as long as he's productive. And he wants to do it in Green Bay. Also, coming out of college, it was almost guaranteed that Aaron Rodgers was going to have a prolific NFL career. He was considered a can't-miss prospect. Hell, at one time, he was projected to be the number 1 pick until the Niners went and drafted Alex Smith. Jordan Love's NFL prospects are a big fucking question mark. His 17 interceptions last year at Utah State were more than Aaron Rodgers threw his entire college career at Cal. Now, one way to quickly lose a job as a quarterback in the NFL, turn the ball over. Just ask Jameis Winston. But KC, Jordan Love isn't ready to start. Well, no shit. He's a project. He won't be ready to start for 2 or 3 years. Well, that makes it even worse because Green Bay wasted a first-round draft pick on a fucking project. If you wanted a project, wait until the later rounds of the draft. You think the Cincinnati Bengals drafted Joe Burrow to sit for 2 years? No, he's starting week 1. Same with Tua in Miami. All Green Bay did with drafting Jordan Love in the first round was create a problem. If the Packers have another season like they did in 2018, only 2 years ago, when they went 6-9-1, even though Aaron Rodgers had a great year, the questions are going to begin. Should the Packers be starting Jordan Love instead of Aaron Rodgers? What do they have to lose? This is a lost season. They're not making the playoffs. All that will do is create dissension in the locker room. Force players to choose sides between Aaron Rodgers and Jordan Love. And you'll have a pissed off, legendary quarterback on your hands. Here's the scenario as I see it now in Green Bay. Aaron Rodgers has 2020 and 2021 to win a Super Bowl. Because what the Packers have essentially told him by drafting Jordan Love in the first round is that by 2022, when we have an out-in-year contract, you'll no longer be playing in Green Bay. So what they're saying is, hey Aaron, we aren't going to get you any help in this draft, but we still expect you to go out this year and win us a fucking Super Bowl. Aaron Rodgers is a notorious grudge holder. This fucking guy still hasn't let go of the fact that his hometown 49ers selected Alex Smith over him in the 2005 draft. There was even speculation that when Mike McCarthy was the coach in Green Bay, that Aaron Rodgers even held a grudge against him because he was the offensive coordinator in San Francisco when they selected Alex Smith over him in the draft. I see some people saying that the Packers drafted Jordan Love because they want to motivate Aaron Rodgers. What the fuck are you thinking? That is absolutely ridiculous. Aaron Rodgers motivates Aaron Rodgers. The guy just carried your shitty roster to the NFC Championship game. And how do you repay him? Instead of drafting him some help, you draft his potential replacement. This is going to be an ugly ending in Green Bay. I cannot see this ending well. I know Aaron Rodgers called and congratulated Jordan Love. That doesn't mean he's happy about the way the Packers handled this draft. I would be willing to bet, much like Brett Favre in 2005, Aaron Rodgers is pissed the fuck off. I just can't get over the fact that in a draft that was this deep with wide receivers, the Packers failed to draft not one fucking receiver. Not one. Like I said earlier, this signals to me that Green Bay is beginning preparations to move on from Aaron Rodgers sooner rather than later. We could actually see a situation similar to what just happened in New England with Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. An organization refusing to get their Super Bowl winning Hall of Fame quarterback some help, hoping that will encourage him to get the fuck out. Took several years for it to work in New England. Bill Belichick had his future quarterback, drafted Jimmy Garoppolo back in 2014 when Tom Brady was 37 years old, only a year older than Aaron Rodgers. Much like Jordan Love, Jimmy G was also viewed as a project. Every time the Packers struggle next season, especially if they aren't winning, if they're hovering around 500, not in the playoff hunt, the questions are going to be relentless. It's going to get ugly. It's going to get uncomfortable. I know Aaron Rodgers has 2 years left on his contract until the Packers can get out of it. But I could see him pushing for a trade sometime within the next year. Because I don't think the Green Bay Packers are looking to compete for a Super Bowl. I think they're looking to replace Aaron Rodgers. All right, that's all for today. Do me a favor, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Click that notification bell to receive all notifications from the channel. Leave me a comment in the section below. Let me know what you think about the Green Bay Packers and how they handled this draft. Do you think that they're looking to get rid of Aaron Rodgers, or do you think that they drafted Jordan Love because he was the best available player? You can follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84. I will see you guys next time.